Sylvia, you have a suspicious mass in your left breast. Sylvia stiffened. What does that mean, a suspicious mass? It means that there's a tumor there. It's about 3 centimeters, right here in the upper outer aspect of your left breast. He made an imaginary circle over the film with his pencil. Sylvia got up and moved closer to the film, staring at the offensive blob. She studied it objectively, as if looking at some other woman's X-ray. It couldn't be hers. Wouldn't she have known if something that ominous lay hidden in her breast tissue? Are you sure you didn't get my film mixed up with someone else's? Of course I'm sure. He tipped his head back and studied the mass through the bottom of his glasses. Sylvia, do you do self-breast exams? She felt as if she'd been caught neglecting her homework. Well, I used to try, but mine are pretty dense, and I always felt lumps that turned out to be nothing. I finally gave it up. Not a good idea, especially with your history. She knew he was right. Her mother had died of breast cancer when Sylvia was 24. She should have known better than to neglect those self-exams. But she had been so busy for the last couple of years, she hadn't had that much time to think about herself. Well, I have tried to have mammograms every year since I turned 40. Her voice trailed off. Except for the last couple of years when I've been out of the country. Well, it seems that the last couple of years were what really mattered. She looked at him, trying to read the frown on his face. But it's okay, isn't it? You can tell if it looks malignant. He looked down at her chart and made a notation. You need to get a biopsy tomorrow, if possible. The fact that he had averted his eyes alarmed her. You just evaded my question, Jim, and you know Harry is going to want to know. Does it look malignant to you or not? He leaned back in his chair, crossing his hands over his stomach. The frown wrinkling his brow didn't look quite so melodramatic now. She set her mouth. Be straight with me, Jim. You see these things all the time. I want the truth. All right, Sylvia. He sighed and took off his glasses, rubbed his eyes. It does have the characteristics of a malignancy. For a moment, she just stood there, wishing she hadn't pressed the issue. Malignancy meant cancer, and cancer meant surgery, and then chemotherapy and radiation, and her hair falling out, and pain, and depression, and hospice care, and death. Her mouth went dry, and she wished she'd brought her bottled water in from the car. She wondered what time it was. She had to get to the cleaners before it closed. Her hands felt like ice, so she slid them into the pockets of her blazer to warm them. Come on, Jim, I don't have cancer. I've been tired, that's all, and they already figured out it's from anemia. There is no possibility that I have breast cancer. None. Zilch. Sylvia, you have to get this biopsied as soon as possible. Okay. She looked down at her blazer and dusted a piece of lint off. Fine, I'll get the biopsy, but I'm not worried about it at all. Good. But he still wore the frown that said it wasn't good. He turned and jerked the film out of the light box. And you're probably right. But if it is cancer, you may have detected it early enough that you'll have an excellent prognosis. As Sylvia drove home, she realized that, along with early detection, she hated the word prognosis. It was not a word she had ever expected to have uttered about her own body. This was just a minor inconvenience, she thought. She did not have time to be sick. The Lord knew how hard she worked for him in Nicaragua, and how much the children in the orphanage there needed her. They were probably already grieving her absence. The Lord surely wouldn't cut her work off when she'd been bearing so much fruit. He cut off barren branches and